going to cooperate. He was not going to cooperate with the public investigation of Yoko.
So, Ms. Annan, what is the point
All of a
exactly?
sudden, what do we see? Now, the leading members who have gone to Parliament, the Osafo and Co., what is the position of that rate? What is the statement? Now, let's look at the Yoko report. That they themselves have upheld.
No. Matilda, correct him. No.
I'm saying you've upheld.
I said this is damage limitation. It's a whitewash.
So
we never upheld. No, don't lie.
You see,
we never said we have upheld it.
Mike, this is why when
He was late. Kofi, tell him. We
when
never said we upheld Yoko report.
I told you not to interrupt.
But
when
don't
I
lie.
interrupted
But that's
twice,
what we said.
Mr. Kokuba, who put me on notice, and I shut up. Please do
So on what
the same.
basis, David, do you say that they have upheld the report?
Please do the same. Whether
David,
you like it or not, if your seat is too hot for you, I'll pour some water on it and then to cool
David,
down, okay?
David,
Yeah.
on what basis do you say they have upheld it? Because he said that they disagree with the report, and he's pointed out
Why has
what
he said
he calls
that? Hey,
inconsistencies.
please,
And what
the
he
man
calls
sat here and
inconsistency.
copiously quoted.
What he meant,
Kokubaku sat here and copiously quoted from portions, the portions that they liked. Now let me read, please.
I
my
showed
time.
the inconsistencies
my
and then the report
time.
was
Don't
not good.
Squat
okay,
like
you make your point.
a tenant at Safran's on my time. First of all, this same report shows that when the tender process was going on smoothly,
Okay.
this is page 4.
David, I'm
The
sorry.
government. Yes.
I have to interrupt you. My producer just tells me that we've gone off air, both on radio and TV. So, all right, you're welcome back. Apologies to our listeners for that loss in transmission. David, you were making your submission.
I was
so your
saying
point
that
is that the NPP didn't support the Yoko investigations, and yet they quote from the report. So
I'm saying that it shows the duplicity, the hypocrisy of a body that claimed to be an alternative process, alternative government. And on this simple matter of consistency, they are unable to establish whether or not the report should be tolerated, regarded, and upheld. Rather, in one breath, they say that no, Yoko doesn't have the power, the mandate, the remit to do the investigation. They're in court for that. There's an injunction pending, and besides, a ruling hasn't been given on that injunction yet, even though I hear my good friend Odami is claiming he's going to sue Yoko for contempt, be that as it may. And in another breath, they tell us that yes, this report has validated their claims. They cite civil servants as being responsible, as having misled, and they even say that the former Attorney General, Betty Drisu, and the Minister of Finance are culpable. They reach such sweeping,
is there somebody specific who has come to that decision, David?
Baseless conclusions which do not even emanate from the report they are talking about.
David, is there someone specific in the MPP that you know who has come to these conclusions? Because on this panel, I haven't heard anybody suggest that.
You are diverting me, but let me just say that. Here we have the Deputy former Attorney General. Now he is saying that he believes that the ECHO was trying to cover the president. And then he uses this same report to state that the president's claim that he knew nothing about the judgment that portrayed him as a liar. Now, this is someone who goes to the extent of calling the president a liar, and you are irritated at my infidel. Liar, infidel, I'll leave it to you. Now, apart from that, relying on this thing, I've already stated that he is inconsistent when he, in the same breath, talks about several contradictions in that report. Relies on it to call the president a liar. When it's not favorable for him, he says there are contradictions. But let me go back to, I haven't yet established, please let me establish the culpability of the MPP in the abrogation of the tender process. Now, what did they do when this tender process was going on smoothly until government intervened and abrogated it? They went and brought a non-party, a body that had not even submitted its processes for the tender. a group that was unknown to the Ministry of Sports.
Okay, you're talking about the construction of the stadium and Shanghai Construction's role.
I'm talking about the statements in the report, which we are all discussing here. Now, let me read, since you want me to...
What page are you on?
4.
Okay.
Now, it says that the letter and the reference clearly informed the LOC of the difficulties of the late attempt to introduce the Shanghai Construction Group. There's a bit of, the way they wrote it is a bit wrong. Will introduce to the tender process. And that given that the tender process started on the 6th of January 2005, and that the Public Procurement Act to be contravened, given these facts, there was a problem in admitting the Shanghai Group. Now, my summation is that President Kufuor terminated the tender process purposely. That is the MPP. I'm not going to leave it to only President Kufuor, even though they have spoken about ultimate responsibility. I am saying that the breach of the Procurement Act was done to facilitate the introduction of an illegal entity, Shanghai Group, who are not even registered in Ghana.
Very well.
I beg your pardon.
I'm saying very well. I want you to also address quickly for me.
Yeah.
Also in the report, the findings about the fact that Woyome, who is your client.
No.
Sorry?
Unfortunately, Matilda, we have taken a decision as the lawyers for Mr. Alfred Woyome not to discuss matters that pertain to issues that are in court.
Okay.
I have said that
what issue is in court? That's your client?
Processes, the AG versus the Attorney General versus, this is the writ.
This is Alfred Woyome's.
With the original proposed amended statement of claim.
Okay.
Now, I'm saying that these are matters that are pending, and I have said that issues of contempt arise from statements that have been made. I know Mr. Kokubaku is ready to defend his position in court. He has told me quite clearly that the writ against President Kufuor is bogus. He looked me straight in the eye the last time I was here.
Comic relief.
When I had shown him, so he cannot say that he didn't have notice.
Whereas
the others, just a minute, whereas the others might not have had notice, on this platform, I held up the writ, spoke about it, informed Mr. Barko about the contents, and Mr. Barko, with that notice, told me that it was comic relief.
Look, what are you doing? You think you can scare me? This is comic relief. I repeat.
Okay, repeated it.
Sorry. Let's
you see?
Let's.
I'm sorry. I say that Koku Baku is prepared to face the matter.
You think we just appeared
very
from
well.
radio?
Matilda, that is why.
So you don't want to talk specific to what you're doing. Let's talk specific to the general issues.
No, but Matilda, can I finish? I'm having a presentation. You want to channel me into a particular path.
Because we're having a discussion. That's what the moderator does.
So you can ask me questions about the path I choose to take on the report, not about pushing me in a direction. I haven't finished. I'm saying that the Shanghai Construction Group, which was brought and which was given a contract, was paid monies unknown to the people of this country. The contract that was signed with Shanghai Construction Group, has anybody seen it? How much were they paid?
Has anybody seen your client's contract with the state?
Who paid? Yes.
So you guys, you don't know all this. You are going to court.
Has anybody paid your client's contract?
Yes.
Even I know this now. Yes.
I'm not in government. Well, that is the position that we have.
So how does your client feel? He's been arrested by the police.
I've told you that strategy, I'm a lawyer. You cannot seek to divert me.
I'm not diverting you. I think it's a very important part of our discussion.
But you cannot divert me.
David Annan, I think it's a very significant part of our discussion.
And I've told you already that as lawyer for Mr. Alfred Woyome, who has on his plate matters of contempt pending, I'm not going to destroy my own application, which is going to be filed, by doing the very things that the people I'm going to drag to court are doing.
Very well. Let's talk about the president's role, which is also in this Iyoko report.
Now I'm saying that the president, that is the former president, Mr.
No, I'm talking about this current president.
Former president.
You've made the point that you think Shanghai was giving a contract
finished making the point,
illegally,
Matilda.
And you haven't seen the contract.
Apart from that,
what is the other thing?
In the Attorney General's amended statement, he makes the position, and this amended statement has been loudly lauded by members of the MPP, They swear by it.
Is this not a matter in
They
court
swear
as
by
well?
the actions of Mr. Martin Amadou. Now,
Mr. Annan,
yes.
This is a matter in court. Do you really want to proceed? Because my understanding is that you don't want to speak specific to any matter in court.
I'm simply repeating her vehemence in the statement of claim which the MPP themselves have done.
Okay, you have 2 minutes to end.
If they swear by, don't restrict me. Pokebak spoke for so long. You've interrupted me too much anyway. Now, in this particular statement of claim, the Attorney General, the former Attorney General, Martin Amadou, is making the point that these matters have to go to Parliament. Contracts, now by Article 181, Clause 5, it states quite clearly, and let me read for your edification. It states quite clearly that this article shall, with the necessary modifications by Parliament, apply to an international business or economic transaction, which the Shanghai Group situation event was. It was an international business and economic transaction. We paid in dollars, to which the government is a party as it applies to a loan. Now, if it applies as it applies to a loan, what it means is that it has to have parliamentary approval. And Mr. Martin Amadou has made the point, saying that even if there was a contract between Mr. Woyome and government, it did not go for parliamentary approval. Likewise, in similar vein, in pari passu with what Mr. Martin Amadou has said, did the Shanghai contract go before Parliament? Monies have been paid. Now let me tell you, apart from the monies that were paid to the Shanghai Group, which we don't even know about, these people went back to Waterville after terminating the tender process and signed a new contract with them. They signed a new contract. Where is that contract? I have it in my hands here. This is the contract that the MPP signed with Waterville. When they keep telling you in the beginning, the statement was that there was no contract.
Who said so?
And then they said there was no contract with Woyome. When we exposed that there was a contract with Waterville. Now it is part of our case, and I'll just briefly allude a little bit to it.
1 minute now.
It is part of our case, Matilda, that Mr. Woyome's capacity derives from the Waterville contract. And that even in the statements which have been put in this ECHO report, it says that Mr. Ajima Menu gave Mr. Woyome, Austro Invest, and another person on the 4th of May, a letter of comfort to go to banks to source money. In that same letter, we have an alleged purported disclaimer. You cannot approbate and reprobate.
Very well.
I'm not going to say much
more because then they're going to learn from David Annan. I've got to do text messages now. Mike in Agogo says, what is our president doing to government officials who defended the case initially? Is this not enough to be a bad behavior like he used to sack Martin Amadou? God is still watching. Suleimana Yusuf Abu says, it's obvious our president wants to clear his name by ordering the arrest of Woyome himself. A Blackup reported that there are a series of actions to be taken. Is the president's office now, is it the president's office that now prosecutes the cases? God save Ghana. I will do Lash Jr. says the NPP, after calling Iyoko an inferior body, is shamelessly using its report when they arrogantly refuse to help in the investigation. What kind of people are NPP? Richard Ajiman Okra says there's no doubt that the president has arrested Woyome just to protect his image and the presidency. Flint Papa says the government must know that Ghanaians are discerning enough to read meaning into everything happening in this Woyome saga. Mel Kwabna Boatin says the Woyome gate alone will send the NDC to opposition.
You are joking.
Bejo David says, Tilly, I believe it will be hypocritical on the part of the president to claim he knew nothing about the payment of Alfred Woyome. If he didn't, why then did his deputy chief of staff, Alex Segbefia, defend this case when it first came up? Awal Isahaku says the Woyome gate is of a gargantuan proportion, hence no amount of propaganda can shield the culprits. All of them will be apprehended. Benjamin Osewusu says, this is how events will be unfolding in the coming days. Woyome will be put before court, then granted bail, and then arrest will be and then the rest will be